leading one of the most popular magazines, city magazines of Hyderabad as well. We've known Wow magazine for a while, and
we're going to complete 20 years now this year. Can
20
you believe
years.
it? Yeah.
Congratulations.
In fact, when we launched, I told my publisher, which is Deepthi Reddy, I said, what are we going to write month after month and month? And strangely, the city also was growing. The editors are the gatekeepers.
Yes.
They sort of filter news. Because even now in a review in Wow, I will say, see what that thing is. Let's make sure it's not planted.
Yes.
So there's lots of them. Now PRs are overactive.
Like I'm constantly wondering what Surya is wearing, what is his new shoes that he's bought, which is his new car he's roaming about, and who's this new girl that he's met. That I am trying to constantly compete with him.
I've been married here 5 years.
I mean, this is an example. I'm also married.
Like, can anyone be neutral? It's impossible.
It's always my point of view.
Okay.
But as a see, in my columns I can be biased, but not as a journalist. If I was reporting on COVID, it has to be truthful.
I really feel that 5G internet is really going to change the world.
Yeah,
I have hope that a lot of people will get a lot more intelligent, because Surya and I had this conversation and we said now a college is every information that you could actually find in a college, you would now have it in your phone.
To be a good journalist, you have to do a lot of legwork. Yeah. Half the journalists have not gone to Old City. Go walk around, talk to people. You have not done any of this. You want to sit in your room and they'll make phone calls and try to get your story. That's no way to get your...
Yeah.
No.
I know at least a dozen marriages have just broken up within 6 months because they're not going to put up with that bahu sort of an image anymore. They are independent women. They want to work and they don't want someone to tell them that all these rules are for you, but for my son, he's the prince of the house.
No, he can sleep. There is no money in this. We do it for the passion of it, because we want to make a difference. We want to tell a good story. We want to be...
Because there's a lot of power in the journalist hand.
Power.
Oh, yes.
That is what I enjoy actually. The kind of influence I, on minds. Forget the influence I have. The influence I have on the minds is like very intoxicating.
So we have Ratna Rao Shekar with us, who is a seasoned journalist of 40 years, editor-in-chief, Wow Hyderabad, and mother of a dear friend. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi.
Tell us something about yourself and how has journalism been for you?
See, I always wanted to be a writer, but in my time there were no career guidance. Nothing was there.
Yes.
So I just did literature. My basic training is in literature actually, which is a good thing, because to be a writer you also have to read a hell of a lot, to see what's going on. So then we moved to Calcutta, and that's where I joined Sunday, which MJ Akbar had just launched.
Okay.
So that's where I began my career. And I'm into more the long form of journalism, which is like magazine writing, not so much newspaper. You were asked me, right? Newspaper.
Yes,
I'm more into magazines. And then I went to the US on a scholarship to study my master's. In fact, I tell my kids that was the best part of my life, not you guys. Most people say, oh, my children and all that. But for me, that was, because it really opened my mind.
So you've been in this industry for so long, and you've seen it evolve from the print to television, I feel more, and then now into social media. It's how different is it? What do you feel like? I mean, can you give us some insight on that? You go through your journey.
See, even when I was in print journalism, television journalism was just coming, and it was getting popular.
Yes.
In fact, but nobody imagined that social media would take over our lives like this. But I still remain a print journalist, because there's more analysis, there's more thought. I mean, how much of television news do you actually see and then so they're just bombarding you with news.
Today's day and age, there are so many of those little squares that are there in every this thing. There are 50 people screaming at each other.
Screaming and shouting. And
it's so troublesome.
And now they've all sold their souls to advertising, to the government. So there's nothing like independent television. So I would advise people not to see television.
I'll tell you, we were born in the 80s as well, and we've seen that, we're lucky to see that transformation happen from print to now with social media. But I think a society needs to somehow figure out how to deliver news, how to deliver trustworthy news, which is relevant, gives both sides. Because I think what's happened very suddenly to the society is that everyone has a phone now. So now everyone has WhatsApp, everyone can get a forward, and they don't know how to verify if it's real or not. So everyone's getting excited suddenly because of this sudden fast food sort of news.
Yeah,
which
there's
is
so much misinformation during COVID. Do
Yeah.
this and drink that, and people were just forwarding. So I used to tell my friends, please do not, unless you verify, unless you know the source, do not. I think first we should stop these forwards.
This WhatsApp university has to be stopped.
I just,
But it's like a wave. It's a tsunami which I don't think anyone can
We
stop.
can stop it.
It's the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, but
sure.
it is, everyone is a doctor, everyone is like, like an Ayurveda specialist, everyone knows anything about everything nowadays.
Everything, yeah.
So it's kind of tough for even the individual. We had like a doctor on our show as well, and he was telling us that before they even come and they know the diagnosis, they're like, I think I have this problem. So they're like, why are you coming to me then? You diagnose yourself.
Yeah,
and
because there's so much information.
There's too much
If you're getting a
information.
heart attack, you know what it is. Yeah.
But I just wanted to ask. So you're leading one of the most popular magazines,
City
also
magazine.
city
City
magazines
magazine.
of Hyderabad as well. We've known Wow magazine for a while, and
We're going to complete 20 years now this
wow,
year. Can
20
you believe
years.
it? Yeah.
Congratulations.
In
on
fact, when we launched, I told my publisher, which is Deepthi Reddy, I said, what are we going to write month after month and month? And strangely, the city also was growing. There was no nightclub when we started. There was only
Yeah.
Taj Banjara. Not, I mean, as a restaurant.
Taj Krishna had O2,
Just
the
about
T2,
open.
T2.
No,
T2.
tunnel.
Tunnel
Yeah.
long back.
And even Taj Banjara had something.
Taj Banjara had something.
I don't remember what it is.
So I said,
quite
what do we
honestly.
go? And strangely, the magazine kept pace with the growth of the cities.
Okay.
I mean, there's so many nightlife, not only especially nightlife. I laughed. I said, what nightlife are we going to write
But in your
every month?
vision, how have you seen the city? Like, do you think it's grown in a good organic way, or on its own way, or is it trying to copy some other cities like Bangalore, for example?
I was going to say that. I think we should avoid the mistakes of Bangalore. Bangalore just is such a beautiful city, and it just grew there. But there's no infrastructure.
No plan.
The traffic is crazy.
Yeah.
So I feel we should learn lessons and build your infrastructure, build the housing, build sewage systems, water.
Yeah,
And you know what? A lot of my friends lost their homes in Bangalore because of that heavy rains. So it's going to
but that's
happen to us.
infrastructure-wise. What about the people-wise of Hyderabad?
Yeah.
I feel like I feel Hyderabadis in general are a little bit more warmer compared to other city people in some ways.
That's old Hyderabad.
That's the old Hyderabad.
Like,
huh?
I'm sure he knows.
Yes. Why would
I mean,
you
they're
say
the ones who are the actual grace and,
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
if you see some of the
Tehzeeb.
old Tehzeeb,
Yes, yes.
they're amazing, Some of the old families.
But Hyderabad has had a longer stint than Bangalore as well. It's a very old city.
Yeah.
And I think the culture comes from there. But
Because
going
there's
ahead,
so many people here, Maharashtrians.
exactly.
Yeah.
There was in one of our episodes we were chatting up with a historian, and he told us a lot about the history. And then Surya and I also understood quite a bit more about Hyderabad. Even me living here all my life, we didn't understand the depth and where it was and how big it was, and we learned quite a bit. But coming back to
So as we grow bigger,
Yeah.
then, this kind of competition, anger, that, road rage, all
Yes.
that will come. Probably you're saying Hyderabad is still nice because we're still little laid back. That laid backness has not gone out of. I'm so
I don't
sorry
think that
to
laid
say.
backness will go.
It's not gone.
So-
No,
Nothing
you
in
never know.
Hyderabad
Maybe
will-
the next generation won't have this laid backness because they are not born into that. We were kind of born into it, and we had people around us who were laid back and had the same attitude. But today, with the corporate world coming in,
Yeah.
I don't feel that attitude is it's
Will
going to
change.
last very long. Like even if the corporate you have to have a certain etiquette. Like
Etiquette.
Hyderabad standard time.
Yeah.
If everybody knows, it's always later. When you go to Bombay, you
2
go
o'clock might be 3:30.
Yeah.
Might
Even
be.
Bombay, I mean, everybody will come at 8 o'clock despite the rains, despite the
Yes,
monsoons. In fact, I wanted to tell you something humorous. I was trying to interview one of the Paiga Nawabs, one of the older Nawabs. And then I said, shall I come by 11? He said, don't you know I don't get up till afternoon? Do not call me till 2 o'clock.
But I also heard that you have interviewed Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa, John Nash, that beautiful mind, that guy. I've interviewed lots of people. Iyengar of that yoga.
Who was one of your favorites?
Yeah,
or
who was
most
one of your
iconic?
favorites? And you
John
must tell us.
Nash. I
John
mean-
Nash, huh? Beautiful Mind was written
Yeah,
about
no,
the
and he's
mathematician.
such
Yeah,
a
the
like a
mathematician,
towering
yeah.
personality, Nobel Prize, and he actually took us around the mathematics department, and he said, "This is very." Remember that scribbling on the
Yeah.
thing there. So he actually showed us around Princeton University.
Right.
So I feel the bigger you are, the more humble The more humble. It's this chota mota people who have an attitude and.
He came up with the Nash equilibrium.
Yeah.
Where
He actually, I mean, we couldn't understand, barely understand, but he actually sat and explained.
How he made it more to do things more efficiently. Basically, the Nash
the
equilibrium.
game theory.
The game
that's
theory.
what he
Exactly.
did. Yeah.
So where did you
Princeton.
do this? Princeton.
We used to do a lot of this for house calls, which I used to run for Dr. Reddy's.
Right.
I used to travel a lot to the US, to the doctors' conferences. And all
Okay.
that. So I was in Princeton. Some family lives there. So I
Yes.
said, can we interview? She said, try. So it happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you just made a call and then he said yes?
I don't know if he has a secretary. He was so simple, I can't tell you.
Wow, that's and
Yeah.
I feel that's the beauty. Like once, like you said, like the bigger you are,
Yeah.
the more humble
Imagine
you are.
taking us around the mathematics department and he
Yeah.
said, then he's...
But was there something about when you interview these special people
Yeah.
like Mother Teresa? What is it something which sets them apart from us average Joes out there? What is it something which makes them unique?
Just the dedication. It's that single-mindedness. Who told? I don't know if it was John Nash or somebody. I said, "What do you do for social life?" He said, "If I had a social life, I won't be doing all these things. Where is the time for that?"
Yeah.
And Mother Teresa, look at her dedication.
What was
That
Mother
focus.
Teresa?
I think that focus is
What
important.
was the experience with interviewing Mother Teresa like?
Mother Teresa, actually, it was quite tough to get her because I think there was some festival going
Okay.
on. And then she just came out and she signed for me,
Okay.
signed her photograph for me, which I keep it because now she's
Okay.
declared a saint.
A saint.
So I think there'll be some blessings in the house.
So yeah, they're all wired in some
Again,
ways.
she
yeah.
said it's a gift, that poor people are a gift because,
Yes.
then you can do something for them. And she said something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No, like whenever I met a few like who we call celebrities or popular people, you realize that yes, they are wired in some way where
Wired, yeah,
like
you're right.
socially they're very awkward or very different,
Correct.
but because their mind is just focused on one particular
Yeah,
thing, so
yeah.
in some other things you might find them a little bit lacking. But
I mean,
yeah.
for us, we have not had the. I think I was very young, and at that point we were so young that we didn't even bother about such things. And now, when you grow older, you understand the personality that she was. And it's always great to know that, like, somebody who we know has actually sat with her.
I'll show you the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be very exciting for us to actually know that somebody's actually sat
Yeah,
with her.
but like you said, what sets them apart is the dedication and focus. Nothing else matters to them.
And she spent her time, like, what did you guys talk about? Like, what was the interview like? What was it like?
Basically
talking-
about her work and why, she was an Albanian and
Yes.
she settled in Calcutta.
And
So that was basically her life actually.
okay.
But I had one question
Yeah.
for you, ma'am. Since you have been such a seasoned journalist for such a long period of time, you've seen India.
Yeah,
up
I've
close,
traveled. Yeah, there
and
was
you've
this magazine
traveled.
I did house calls.
Yeah.
And
I've traveled up and
So in these
across the country.
in these 30 plus years, how do you think India has transformed or changed, or what have been some certain landmark moments which you've been present at where you were a journalist and you contributed to the field? I can imagine so many things like the economy opening up, Indira Gandhi's assassination, so on and so forth.
I was never a trend kind of a journalist. We did more human interest stories.
Okay.
Like there is this. So traveling in this country, I realized that there's so much variety, there's so much culture, there's so much religion,
We're like
there's
a
so much
continent,
faith.
basically.
Yeah. No two places are
Yeah.
similar. So there is this tribe, not a tribe, they were just like a caste, there are Dalits or something like that, called Naamis.
Okay.
These are in Chhattisgarh area.
Okay.
So it's very tough to find them. So they're not allowed entry into the temple. So they said, I don't know to use bad words. They said, what the hell? So they put Ram's name, they tattooed all over there. That picture also I'll send you.
Oh, wow.
All over their body.
Okay.
They called Ram Namis.
So that.
So that, we try to, we are more like National Geographic. We try to
Okay,
discover
okay.
these kind of things across the country.
When you say National Geographic, so
Yeah.
then I have like a follow-up for that. Like, how is the wildlife depleted in India? Do you see like
Yeah, we've done Ranthambore, Corbett, I've been to Gir.
Yeah, and how do you feel like?
Also, I've been to Africa, so this was nothing compared to Africa. So I feel like hardly anything. But they're saying now it's improving.
I mean, they've never taken care of our environment. I feel India was always left to, ruin. Now they've recently, our Prime Minister has left some cheetahs. And I think cheetahs are back in our environment.
After 70 years.
After 70 years. So hopefully they are doing something to better the environment.
Yeah.
But do you feel that in this time that our national structure has changed and the forest department is doing its job, you feel?
No, there's too much corruption.
There's,
Sorry.
yeah.
I mean, timber, I mean, if you see, all the trees are gone, and it's like a climate change. People say, oh, we won't do this. It's a whole ecosphere which you have to take care of. From the way you wash your clothes, the way what you eat. It's a whole
Nobody's
story.
Mindful.
Yeah.
Nobody's mindful of their own environment and how much carbon.
Like they say, even a bee is important in that whole system of this thing.
Of course, yes.
The whole
I think
ecosystem.
Einstein
You
used to
want to
say.
stay, you want to save the tiger, but not, your
Not the actual,
other things.
Yeah,
Apparently, bees are disappearing.
Bees are absolutely disappearing. I mean, for me, when I was younger, we used to stay in Hapshiguda, and that had a really big backyard, and we had a lot of these lizards and all of that.
Butterflies, have you seen
butterflies? Zero,
sparrows? Yeah.
zero. I don't see birds and butterflies, and we used to
so
sit.
sad for the children, actually.
Because I used to sit at the club and always used to hear these birds chirping, and maybe I don't know the different kinds of birds, but they always hear them. But now there's almost nothing.
We hear honking
Yes,
from the cars,
yes,
that's it.
yes.
And even areas like Jubilee Hills.
Completely, I'm talking about Jubilee Hills. It's just zero.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I'll tell you, it's just what's so weird is today, even like our parents' generation as well, they're also hooked on to the phone and getting used to this new sort of a very fast lifestyle. No one has time to get bored anymore. Like nowadays, I was reading a very nice piece which you're talking about how society's changed and they become so, we're on dopamine basically of just constantly checking our phones, or we just can't just sit and laze and look at the weather anymore,
Like if three or four of you met, the constant phone, somebody will go out to answer.
No, but it's just like our brains are just hardwired into like we cannot get bored. There's too much entertainment around, or we just can't waste a day. Like, why not?
You're wasting your day. What is the thing?
No, but in our heads we are thinking, oh no, I have to, I don't know, do something.
So like
I have
I
to watch
said,
this show.
even the news, I believe, is just like half a second, 8 seconds. I believe goldfish has more concentration than human beings right now.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
We have no time to introspect, I think, on our decisions.
Absolutely. What I'm saying is you don't want to withdraw. You don't want to think about your life, what's going on with your life. So when we were children, there were no TV also. I mean, there was that horrible Krishi Darshan or something like that. So their parents would just leave us. So we would put up plays, all sorts of things during summer holidays. Be out all the time. And invent games for ourselves. Obviously, fight with brothers. Do all sorts of things like that.
But the thing is that you had to
Parents didn't entertain us. They didn't say go for football, you go for some cooking class, nothing. They just left us alone. Tum kuch bhi kar lo bahar. So we would make the sand castles, play temple, I don't know what all, cooking.
And you had to be more social as well in this environment, like, because you had no other distinct, so you're constantly being with your brother or your cousin or your friends, and your social construct was better. I feel with social media, your social construct, you're constantly competing with the other. Oh, I've got this, you have not got this. I'm
you have
looking
these many
better than you.
followers, I need to get more followers.
No, it's affecting the young people are not realizing, this somebody's boyfriend dumps her, or she doesn't get enough likes, she commits suicide. I mean, we've become so fragile that you're not able to take all this. I mean, is this a real world, first of all? That
it's really not, because it's a really not, I mean, it's 100, the picture that has been posted has been looked over 100 times. It's been cleaned, it's been photoshopped, filtered, and it's been taken in an angle that is more suitable to that person at that moment.
It's such a false world. How can you even take it seriously?
I think that's kind of the con of too much connectivity. Before we didn't have internet. Internet kind of came into our lives in the late 90s. So before then, we didn't care what was happening in Ukraine or whatever. It was just one tidbit in the news. It was nothing towards going out in the streets.
That's also adding to our stress. One of my homeopath doctors, he said, because now news is so like next door. Earlier, so we didn't know, sitting in a village, we didn't know who was being bombed, what was happening. There was less stress.
But what do you
think only our environment we knew about.
But what do you think is better? Are we headed in a... we can't go back.
No, there's no chance of going back.
Because that's the problem is that...
I think everything comes to full circle. I think at some point people will say, now enough of this, let's limit.
But how has journalism changed? News has changed also. I remember before news was just 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And then
the television news.
Yeah, television news also. It was very, very small. Newspapers are a big part of everyone's day.
Yeah.
Nowadays, no one's not really consuming that much print media. It's now either no one's even watching NDTV's news app also. They're just watching it on Facebook or on Instagram to get the
or
news.
Twitter.
Or
Twitter
Twitter
has
has become a
changed the
big
life.
thing, yeah.
Twitter has changed everybody's life.
Yeah.
What is your trending hashtag? Everybody is following the news that it comes on Twitter. So Twitter is the main.
What I'm saying is there's no analysis. Like I tell
Yeah.
my son, you don't read papers. But he says, I know faster than you.
Yeah.
But there's no analysis
Yeah.
why something was bombed, what was happening.
Or the information also, like today, back in the day, you had like an educated person who was specifically educated in that field, who was standing in the
Correct.
middle, and like you said, a gatekeeper.
Correct.
Who was there, who was filtering out the right news from the
Yeah.
wrong news.
Yeah.
But we've totally lost that today.
Yeah.
And
There are we call the editors are the gatekeepers.
yes.
They sort of filter news. Because even now in a review in WOW, I will say, see what that thing is. Let's make sure it's not planted.
Yes.
Because there's lots of them. Now PRs are overactive. So they'll be planting all these stories, reviews.
I am
So,
seeing.
I think after I go, I think everything they'll be just putting stories in WOW.
The whole this thing is, I've seen a guy who's a very average individual from Old City. He has about 1 million followers.
What does he do?
He dances on street corners, and he is influencing so many people with the wrong thing, because he does not know what to influence people by. Like, he has no idea.
Okay.
He's just doing it for his fame. It is his gain. But what impact it has on those 1 million followers who is sending out the wrong message to? I mean, that's what I feel is wrong with social media. I feel that the education system in India or the world, not only in India, the world should now have, like you have math, science, geography, chemistry, you should have social media also as one subject.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then people have to be educated and
No, I think
have
it's
to
too
understand.
addictive, like you said,
Yeah.
dopamine. It's such a high, So
It's-
everybody wants to be on it. So maybe it'll become a popular course.
It
someday.
should be, because
You
I
will
really
PhD.
feel that now with maths there should be social media as a mandatory subject, because people should learn the responsibility of it.
That comes from individually.
Or is it always been that the number of people who don't really care, has the ratio has always been the same?
So they didn't have a voice then.
Yes.
They didn't have a voice then.
Like he
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
saying, no.
Yeah.
But now, though, any uneducated person, anybody,
Yeah, because there's so many people, especially in
See,
our
you would
generation.
read somebody like Ramchandra Guha because he has taught it, he's from
Yeah.
Oxford. Like even Sashi Tharoor, he was so fantastic.
Yeah.
So these are all educated people, and if they say something, it makes sense.
But what do you feel about our generation, which is who were born in the 80s and 90s?
Yeah.
They still, I see a lot of people. I was shocked that some people don't even know when India got independence.
Seriously?
In my age group.
Seriously?
In my age group, and I was shocked.
And
these
this
people have gone to
Gandhi,
college,
Rajiv Gandhi,
and they've gone
they're
to
all-
college,
Yeah.
as well. I'm like, you don't know which year we got independence, and it's just all a blur, and they're all just in their own image and their own friend circle. And they say, what does history matter? It's happened in the past. I'm like, history is basically humanity telling you this is where we made our mistakes.
Absolutely.
Don't do this again.
Yeah.
This is important, monumental information. But how do you get the youth
But
interested?
no, it's also the fault of the parents, the education system we have, where you're not, these things are not given value. I think that's a problem.
Yeah, but that is a problem. But we need to find solutions to curb this problem, because at this rate, if our next generation does not, like he said, know when we got independence, what mistakes we've made in history.
Do they know about partition and how painful it was?
No idea. They have no idea.
Nothing.
One of the most painful things.
Yes, exactly. That's the sad part, because the people who get very worked up very fast with zero knowledge of the history, not knowing that a lot of people, fun fact for a lot of people don't know this, when India got partitioned, over 2 million people died in riots, not because of famine. 2 million people died.
It was
in
the
riots.
biggest
Imagine,
exodus apparently in
it was
history. Even the Jews,
insane.
it didn't happen.
It is so many-
our whole thing of this Hindu-Muslim thing came from that time.
Yes,
It's
yes.
not some, it's not
Yes, it was. And
Something new.
history is it's shocking as to how many things have
It's
happened
not a
and
question
where we come from.
where not just history, people are not interested in the arts, people are not interested in nature, people are not interested in, so many things. You need to tell children to be interested in this. You need to, I don't know how. Maybe make some great movies or whatever.
No, I know. Also,
And also, like you said, people don't have the time. Time to do what? You're spending so much time on your phones. reading all
But
sorts of
that's
junk.
the thing. There's this consumerism and this materialism.
Consumerism, yeah.
Consumerism and materialism has, sorry to use the word again, consumed our society. We have so many things to. Our thing is like, I'm constantly wondering what Surya is wearing, what is his new shoes that he's bought, which is his new car he's roaming about in, who's this new girl that he's met. That I am trying to constantly compete with him.
I've been married here 5 years.
I mean, this is an example. I am also married. We both are not looking at girls. Let's make that clear. But
But why do you need to compare yourself with anybody else?
That's true.
we
The
don't
one
have
thing
to.
People ask, do you get jealous? I never feel jealous. I don't know why, because I think I'm so superior. Not superior, I know I have so much in me.
You're
not-
secure.
Yeah.
Yes,
So you shouldn't compare yourself.
but that is
So
what it's
work on
taught.
your development. You know, how I can grow as a person by doing these kind of nice things. Because you've met so many people already. Has it been a year?
For our podcast?
Podcast.
No,
It's been
4 months.
4 months.
4 months.
We're
But
very,
you've
very
met so
new.
many. So, you know, your perspectives have changed. So
Yes, yes.
please meet people.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
that's the thing that I
Go
also
out.
feel.
This is not your world. Your phone is not your world.
Like one of the pieces which you were writing about, which I really resonated with me, was the fact that everyone's trying to pretend that they're busy. Can you shed a little light on that? Like, what is
You know,
this?
in our time, like, of course, best was my parents' time, where anybody could just walk in, and there's always a meal. I'm sure you know that.
Yes,
You
yes,
know, we
yes.
always welcome visitors, and no, they won't want to leave. Also, they'll just be like, relax. And we didn't have to phone people. Now, if I have to meet, like Shiraz called me 4 times, are you coming? You know, we have to make this appointments. You know, you know, with good friends, what is this making appointments?
The appropriate word is scheduling.
Schedule. Yeah.
And no one likes phone calls
Yeah.
anymore. It texted. Why are you
Texting.
calling me?
Yeah, even that is like irritating people. Like you can't, you know, you don't have 2 minutes to talk to somebody. So basically, we've lost that human connect.
Yes, yes, it's really. I feel it like, you know, when I was in 12th grade and we didn't have this phone. That time phones and all just come out. Reliance had taken out one phone, but it was free to call and all.
Yeah, yeah.
That I think ruined everybody's life. Where we all got it and we started
yeah.
talking on the phones.
And now 5G is coming out.
Yes.
And 5G is coming out is not just going to be faster internet. It's going to be internet in all things, in your furniture, in your fans, and it's going to really, really change a big chunk of humanity and how we
I
can
really
interact.
feel that 5G internet is really going to change the world.
Yeah,
I have
okay, how?
hope that a lot of people will get a lot more intelligent, because
How?
Surya and I had this conversation and we said now a college is every information that you could actually find in a college, you would now have it in your phone. You only
It's already
need
available on YouTube. It's already available, actually.
your classes, everything is available on YouTube. So it's going to be so much easier for. Of course, we live in a different time. I mean, we live in a different time in India. I think we were actually discussed as well. There are 3 Indias. One is India, one is
Bharat, one is Hindustan.
and one is Hindustan. And we live in India.
Yeah.
We don't live in Bharat or Hindustan. Bharat is like for the very low, I mean, like in the villages, they don't have electricity.
Yeah.
But for them, it's going to be such a medium for them to learn and understand, because so many of these YouTube videos are doing so well, and they are learning so many things, like
even classes, is
even
it?
classes, yes, like this new thing called Byju's. Now it's like actually going down. They've seen this thing.
Would they have
But
classes?
so many people are educating themselves with this Byju's. And I feel 5G internet, because what it trickles down to is we have 5G in India, then 4G goes to Bharat.
Yeah.
So therefore they will be much smarter rather than. Of course, the conglomerates are going to be much richer with their expertise and the data that they collect. But I feel the average Joe will get smarter, and I have that hope for this.
But at
5G.
the same time, not going through this. I think like no one's really manning the ship right now.
No one is
Yeah.
manning
No one's
the
manning the
Yeah.
ship.
No one
It's
is
just,
manning the
and
ship.
this was happening. Mark Zuckerberg is saying, why can't we just wear headsets all day and
just
live
enjoy.
like this? But I don't trust Mark Zuckerberg at all.
Not-
And all what we are just consume, because it's free.
Yeah.
So we are all just mass consumers, but we are actually the product.
Products, yeah.
We are the product
No,
for
they're
the
working on your mind.
advertisers.
I just have to think khadi, and some 10 khadi things will come. How does it happen? The algorithms.
Yeah,
On
it's madness, because on one side,
On
of
my
course,
Insta, all those ladies who are marketing saris or
Yeah,
So
saris, all that
they are
comes up.
constantly looking at your data stream,
Yeah.
which is
What I'm looking at.
what you're looking at, who
How
you're
much
talking
time have you
to.
spent on a certain post? And then they understand that, okay, this is...
So see, you're not free anymore.
They're not free. It's
Scary. Or I just talk about a holiday and immediately some Greece. Have a
Yeah,
holiday in Greece. Some 5 things will come up.
that is true.
So you're no longer free. So isn't that scary to you people that you're all jumping
I
for
think
5G?
we grew up in this era where we never really gave value to privacy. We
Yeah.
kind of felt like, I'm not some Shah Rukh Khan, I don't care about my privacy. So that was...
No, but they're taking over your mind.
They are taking
Yeah.
over our mind.
And that they are definitely taking over mine. But the problem
Especially
is
these elections and all, it's so
100%. 100%.
That Brexit, you know how it happened.
Of course,
Yeah.
yes.
So now, with this government and
The government they are definitely going to push us.
they use it.
But in the end, it's all about like, if I don't do it, my competitor will do it. So thus everyone has, like even NDTV, which is run by Pranoy Roy, who's a very... who's a
Renowned
veteran journalist
Yeah,
and
he's
very
a
well
renowned
respected.
journalist, yeah.
But he himself now, NDTV is now doing reels, which is those quick
Yeah?
15-second news
I
things.
didn't know this.
And they're doing a lot of clickbait sort of news they're giving out. And I never thought NDTV out of all
Yeah.
would do this, but they are, because in the end, they'll get eaten up by Republic TV, by Times Now, by all of them if they're not. So in the end, like there's so much of a transformation happening in today's news channels. Where do you get your news from? Is it NDTV, Times of India, or who do you trust?
this is really strange. I don't have Tata Sky. I do not subscribe to any of the news channels.
Okay.
Because especially, I stopped it during COVID because the kind of information, the kind of, things
Yeah.
they were bombarding us with, it was very depressing. So I just stopped. I get New York Times and Financial Times on
But for India?
mail. They're better reporting than
Okay.
it's most trustworthy.
But isn't there the problem with, like, New York Times is definitely more biased towards the left, in a way?
No, these are all Indian journalists during COVID,
Acha.
and
Okay.
Well, I want to know only that much.
Acha.
And in fact, a lot of people say I write the way I do because I don't read anybody else.
Okay.
So that I form my own opinions.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is it hard to keep bias out when you're writing? Or
That's a good
like, can
question.
anyone be neutral? As in,
nobody
it's
can be.
impossible.
It's always my point of view.
Okay.
But as a see, in my columns I can be biased, but not as a journalist. If I was reporting on COVID, it has to be truthful. It has to be to the point. It has
But
to be.
of course, everyone knows that even if you're trying to write a neutral piece, if you have a certain
No, there's a
hate
difference
towards someone,
between
you
a
can...
reporter. Reporter reports. We don't want your opinion. I tell people, just give your information. But if as a columnist, I'm allowed
the columnist,
to
of
give
course.
my opinions, which is why you read me. Let's see, what Ratna's doing, what somebody else is writing about.
But who do you think are the veteran Indian reporters or journalists or media people as per you? Like Pranoy Roy, for example, or
I'm not very much
Barkha
into...
Dutt.
Barkha Dutt.
Barkha Dutt, you
Yeah,
like,
she's really good. The way she went around during COVID, it's amazing. I mean, none of us would
She
have...
lost her father also, I think. I believe.
And her book is also very good. I forget the name of the book.
What about Arnab Goswami?
Is he still there?
he's there
See, I
minting
told
it.
you, I don't watch TV. I deliberately cut off that cacophony.
you cut
I
out.
really don't want that cacophony in my life.
Okay.
Useless cacophony.
It's actually quite it's a drama that is happening on TV.
It's a drama.
And
See, they have to drum up that viewership. So they'll say, and then he goes on talking. I thought he was
it's
no
all
longer
about the
there.
TRP rating, as they
TRP
say.
rating.
But isn't like media, strong free media is the important pillar of every democracy.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the problem is if that media, like Shekhar Gupta, for example,
he's
on the
good
print,
at that,
I follow him. I think he's one of the best.
I don't follow you, read him.
I see he
hate
has
him.
an on YouTube called Cut the Clutter. He comes out every day
I've
almost.
seen that.
It's fantastic. But the problem is every time whenever he releases media, he says, guys, please, I need donations to run this channel. So the problem with media is it's such an important pillar to democracy, but it needs money. It's subject to capitalism. It has to get money from the society, from ad revenue or just donations. That's the flaw. Like it
So
cannot
now they're
be
saying there
state-run.
should be different revenue models. Earlier the model was advertising. But then advertising we're calling the shots. Advertisers will call the shots. So they're saying that maybe pay. Like if I want to read New York Times, I do pay actually. Yearly
Subscriptions.
subscription. So they're saying Hindu wants to have that model.
Okay.
Scroll, Wire, they're all very good
Yeah.
papers. But they want you to pay for that news as a reader, subscriber. And like you said, donations.
Of course. But
If you believe it. And they are pretty truthful and ethical, I think.
Shekhar Gupta is one of those people who even I
admire.
follow as
Yeah,
well.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know about this YouTube channel. I mean, I know I've
He
heard
does
about
this-
that.
It's called The Print.
It's called the
Print, I
print.
do- I
Yeah,
think.
so and it's
So-
a print
Cut
YouTube
the
channel.
clutter. I
Cut
didn't
the
know.
clutter.
Cut the Clutter is
Print is
the
one of the good.
It's one of the shows of the print.
Print,
but
exactly.
it's brilliant. It's
Yeah.
brilliant.
it's like an editorial.
Even Karan Thapar, I like his
Karan
interviews. I
Thapar
always
is also
watch his
good.
interviews.
Veer Sanghvi. What do you think?
Does he have a channel? I mean,
He does more into travel nowadays. He's doing,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
also
travel
he
and
has.
Absolute travel only.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's-
There's also Shobha Day. I believe you've worked
Yeah.
with her as well. Or
yeah, when I was with Society in Bombay.
How is she like? I've met her once briefly, but
She's glamorous and
she's
she's
glamorous.
I like what she writes.
Yeah. It's very, very strong
Opinionated. People
Yes,
say that I'm also very opinionated.
But I think, yeah, of course.
But I think that's the thing of being.
I don't sit on the
human being.
fence.
Yeah.
Yeah, but have you faced any hate or backlash because of your opinions?
Were you going to say blackmail?
Sorry, no, backlash.
Not really.
Not-
And you were asking me about discrimination in journalism. I think
Not only discrimination, so I know that you are from Andhra, and how difficult was it for you in this transition of it becoming Telangana? What did you feel about it?
it was not personally, I mean, nobody was going to throw
Yeah.
us out, but we
Yeah.
have a long history because when states bifurcated, Tamil Nadu and this,
Yes.
we were all in Madras.
Right.
So they said, Telugu Vallu Po or something, Pongo,
Okay.
Tamilian said. So that time we lost statehood.
Oh,
So
God.
then we were invited to Andhra, to Hyderabad specifically.
Right.
And they were the ones who in the IAS who were manning the banks. In fact, my dad came from Madras and set up the State Bank of India here. They
Oh,
came
wow.
like with Mr. Talwar. They all came in a train and they set it up. So professionals came here. I think Hyderabad didn't have education. They were a little backward here.
Right.
Probably.
Of course.
And then to say, like how many years later, 50 years later, that, Andhras, this is not for Andhras, you should go back. And this is only for Telangana people. It didn't seem fair to me. And in fact, the original capital was Kurnool, not Hyderabad.
And
But at that point, the government wanted to develop this, which they have developed very beautifully, Hyderabad.
so Hyderabad is a global city. You feel what are your thoughts on Hyderabad being a global
In terms
city?
of IT, yes, we are really the hub. But where are the libraries? Where is your great museum? Where is your
Yeah.
great theatre? I mean, you have one dilapidated Ravindra Bharati, which is infested with rats and mosquitoes.
Is that still standing? Because I don't know.
Yeah. So a great city is known by its, theatre, museums.
Yeah, I think
There's
everyone
no
like
culture and
like
art.
Culture.
I just came back from Europe vacation, and I just see like the
Yeah.
train stations are magnificent.
Yeah.
The museums, they pay so much attention to museum.
Yeah.
And all these other things where our states probably don't see tourism or this as revenue generating, so the focus is on many other wrong things.
That's the thing that we were discussing, saying that history is so important to us,
Yeah.
and how would you make history fun, or for somebody to enjoy it? Like
Yes,
people have to enjoy history. I mean,
Because have you seen in Europe, kids are taken compulsorily. They'll sit in front of a Picasso painting. They themselves
Yeah.
will draw something.
Yes.
So you expose them. Here, there is no exposure.
Correct.
So that's why arts are not important at all in Hyderabad. sadly.
even when we used to, so we've gone to HPS. So now, and when the history teacher used to come, oh, this is free period, free period. Nobody paid
We never
attention.
take seriously.
Yeah, this is never was taken seriously. Never. Still, there is no importance given to the social sciences.
Yeah, liberal arts Hyderabad is really bad.
But I'll tell you what's happened also. Nowadays, people will only learn about a topic if a movie is made about it. Yeah. That's the sad part. Like no one knew about Tanaji until the movie
But that's
Tanaji
the
was
thing.
made.
Like that's what I said. That it has to be made fun. So
Yeah.
therefore, this cultural center,
Yeah.
like ma'am has said, like if you have great cultural centers, like
Yeah.
it's there in the West, then they have those theaters, those acts, and that makes it fun for a lot of people.
Like art,
And-
for example, also.
Yes.
Like I can probably just name two big Indian artists. Probably that's about it.
Yeah.
I like.
Hyderabad has lots of
has way
artists,
more.
yeah.
Like I believe you're heavily into the
Yeah,
field
yeah.
of arts as well.
Yeah, I
Can you
write-
give a glimpse of what is Indian art, modern art today nowadays?
I mean, that's a long kind of
Yes,
thing.
yes.
But Hyderabad also has contributed. M.F. Hussain used to come to Hyderabad.
Of
He was
course.
friends with Lakshma Gaud and Surya Prakash.
Yes.
They all used to come. Even Ara was like a driver or something like that. And he became a great
Okay.
artist. And we have our own movement here. People like Lakshma Gaud, Vaikuntham, Fawad.
Okay.
And there are
Aziz
lots
is also one popular.
Yeah,
have
he could have made it really big.
I'm an absolute layman in this. Whatever you guys are talking,
And then
it's
there are all
like-
these youngsters trying to make it. And art is a very difficult thing to break through.
Yes, yes, yes. It's and the problem is also we have to work out because in Germany, for example, in Berlin, if you're an artist or someone in the art field, half your rent is taken care of by the
How
government.
wonderful, yeah?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't
because
know
they
this.
want to promote art
Yeah,
and
yeah,
culture in the
yeah,
city.
yeah.
So even if you're a DJ, you can get you can be considered an artist and half your rent is paid for. Whereas over here, it's like if I want to be a singer or an art painter, you have to be someone really big in order to make ends meet.
These people suffered during COVID.
Very badly.
Like Kartik was saying about DJs,
Yes, it
they didn't have gigs.
And
Musicians couldn't go out. And this is their livelihood, right? Even for artists.
it's also looked down upon. Like, you want to be a chef, for example. Like,
Yeah.
chef, you're like, oh, you want to be a bawarchi banna hai. Iske ghar mein. That's constantly looked down upon. They don't want to see the liberal arts and these things
Yeah,
as
yeah.
like a actual real career, unless somebody makes it really big and has their photo come in a news article or something. Then they're like, oh, wow, congratulations. But until then, everybody discourages you.
Yeah.
They're like, why are you doing this? Like,
That's true. See, Andhra, I mean Hyderabad is top in IT. You have people all over the world.
Yes.
But we have no sense anything in liberal arts. We don't encourage that. Unfortunately, it's skewed a little bit.
like New York has the Met.
Yeah, don't even
I mean, like
The Met Gala.
No, not
The
the Met
Met.
Gala. But does Hyderabad have any such art centers?
No, we only have the State Gallery,
Right.
which again is run down, but they have a good director now, so she's been having good shows. But that's about it. I don't even know how many people know there's a State
I
Gallery.
have never heard about it.
Yeah.
Like for us, we want to be interested in doing these things, but we don't get any information.
Yeah. You
There's
don't
no
know where a
information.
good play is.
Not at
don't
all.
know what's going on.
Yeah, and Ravindra Bharati is all
Yeah,
these plays
yeah.
and all. Yeah, it's but don't you feel like a little bit of our parents' generation where their focus was just be a doctor or engineer,
Correct.
doctor,
It
engineer,
started,
doctor,
yeah.
engineer.
I'm also
that
saying
kind of
that
killed a
older
lot of the
generation. Yeah,
creative
yeah,
people.
true.
And I think it's
It began
it's
with
a-
that generation, actually, you're right.
But I think our generation should kind of push this, that we have to
Yes,
push
I mean,
creativity.
his dad is one of the people who have kind of broken out of that
The mold.
the mold and then gotten into hospitality.
Yeah.
And
But you're not from Hyderabad, are you?
I'm from Rajasthan actually, yeah. So, but yeah, of course, even in our generation,
Look
like
at the way they promote tourism in Rajasthan. Any
Yes.
little fort, they'll make it into
Yeah.
a small
no,
thing.
but I'll tell you, it was all economics. There was no government or state government who kind of pushed saying, "Oh, please, let's do this." It was just like our palaces are dilapidating, so someone said, "I make it a hotel." And if you go to Europe and all, they have such tiny
Yeah.
accommodation,
Yeah.
and we have such palatial places which we sell for $70, $80.
No, and
you know,
look at here. Here you want to destroy everything old. You want to blow up the rocks. I mean,
Yeah.
rocks predate everything, even dinosaurs,
Yes.
even before that. So,
Right.
you don't have any sense of the history.
have you gone through that new road that is there near my home Bhuja? They've
Yeah.
broken almost 30
God.
40 feet of rock.
Oh, wow.
And it really looks very bad. Like, I mean, of course, it's great for connectivity. The infrastructure is superb.
That's what they say, this shouldn't be versus, like Europe also. I mean, there's so much, but
Yeah.
still, they maintain what is the America, where there's nothing which is old more, like we used to say, my grandmother's house is older than this, but they'll make a big thing. They'll, have tickets. They'll
Yeah.
have, like, make it a tourist center. So we don't even know how to develop.
Yeah.
But
Use a
Ratna
thing,
ma'am,
like especially old city. I mean, it's so fantastic. It could be like William Dalrymple has said, this could be a lovely, like a tourist thing. This, Bidar, Hampi, they've had a circuit.
Mhm. But I wanted to also touch on the fact that besides journalism, what else do you occupies your interests?
My basic interest is writing, reading.
Yeah. Any
Nothing
particular favorites, like authors or genres?
Well, mostly fiction and non-fiction. I just read a lot, actually.
That's it.
And then because of that, I got into writing, because I love reading. And I've done lots of
Could
magazines.
you
I've
recommend?
launched a lot of magazines. I've launched books. Not launched, I've done books. So right now also I'm working on a book of women entrepreneurs for this fintech company.
Okay.
So I'm glad people are also coming forward, to do these kind of things.
Has women entrepreneurship been easy or difficult?
Apparently, it's quite, everybody, rich or poor, it's been a struggle. It's like, even if it's a family-run business, they don't want to give the daughter. They don't automatically say, let her inherit father's business.
How was your experience with your parents when you said you wanted to get into journalism?
No, my dad was a banker, you see. So he said,
Okay.
no, not literature. First he thought literature was useless. He said, no, you must do economics, which I've St. Francis, I cut it out and put literature in it.
Okay.
And then after that, see, there was no career guidance, like I said. I didn't know what to do with all that English literature I had. When I moved to Calcutta, and that's where I started my career as a journalist.
Did he approve or like?
They were really proud of me. My mother is very proud of me right
Okay,
now.
that's lovely.
Yeah. I mean, we don't make money. I don't make the kind of money my brothers make because they're all bankers and
You're right.
into corporations.
But if someone
it's
wants
very satisfying. I can't tell you how much.
But if someone wants to get into journalism,
Yeah,
what sort of skill set should they have, and what sort of a path do they have to follow?
I get young writers now who can't even spell, and they'll send me an article with smileys and all those emojis.
No. But are they studying journalism in college?
Apparently, St. Francis has a journalism school. In fact, I want to tell the professors,
Mass
and then be
communication.
on time. First of all, these people, like if I was going to, write about you, I need to get your spellings right. They will not get your name right. First thing, I studied journalism in the US.
And that's very offensive for some people. It's like you're writing about me.
For some people, for everybody.
Yeah.
You
So
must
I said that's the most important thing, and don't feel shy about asking them, how do you spell Suryavir? I mean, is it with a double E, the I?
Yeah.
That. And then they're never on time. First thing, punctuality. You cannot keep people important, not important, simple people. You cannot
Keep
people
waiting.
right. Third thing is you have to read. To be a writer, you have to read. See what it is. And then travel, go out. Don't be sitting on your phones. We come back to that. And then be able to string a sentence. People cannot string a sentence also. The moment, people say I'm from Madras University or Calcutta, I know the English will be good. Hyderabad is really bad, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
I get the worst lot. And I think right now what's happening is nobody wants to be a journalist because there is no money in this. We do it for the passion.
Oh.
So nobody wants this profession, and everybody's a social media star now. Everybody's an influencer, whatever. So nobody wants to take this. This is a lot of legwork, lot of meeting people, going around.
And you want to feel like going in and getting into the field because
you want to make the difference.
Because it's not an easy job being a journalist. Because sometimes there are a lot of countries where they jail the journalist.
Don't worry, even in India they do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. So there's that risk you have to go through as well. So it's like as good as going into battle basically when you want to get the news out and someone strong is there. Like if you want to write an article against the chief minister and live in the same state at the same time, it's not easy.
Yeah.
I mean, this recent guy, this Zubair, he is now nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Today, it was there in the paper. I'm so glad.
I was quite taken aback by that because I mean he's done a lot of work, but I feel it's very biased as well. He's a little bit biased towards the right. He wants to point out the mistakes of who he wants to point out. He doesn't point out other people's mistakes. So. But I think it's a good thing for him that he's getting the Nobel Peace Prize.
He may not get
He may not be nominated.
Yeah,
but it's a big deal for him to be nominated. I mean, I was not expecting. Surya is like, no, I don't care about this guy. What do you feel about it?
No, I don't want to say anything. To be a good journalist, to be a good journalist, you have to do a lot of legwork. Half the journalists have not gone to Old City. Go walk around, talk to people. You've not done any of this. You want to sit in your room and they'll make phone calls and try to get your story. That's no way to get your... No, that's the attitude of a whole generation. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You have to be there, out there in the field, even if you're not a war reporter or anything like that. But even, I mean, if I was a Hyderabadi journalist, I need to go to the old city, see what is going on. You know, meet the people there, the food.
Yeah, I know. Nowadays they're just like, "Hello, I'm calling from this magazine,
yeah,
and
yeah.
what do you think about?
I'll send
what
you
do
a
you think
bunch of
about
questions.
Yeah. What do you think about Navratri?
What do you think? Yeah, silly questions like, what do you think of Navratri? What will they think?
It's a festival.
Yeah.
What do you want
Yeah,
from
so
me?
What do you do with your family during this
Yeah,
time?
that is really like, that is not
yeah.
even journalism. Don't even, don't call them journalists.
But how is like? But don't you feel? But like even now today, print media is somewhat still surviving because I was listening to someone who is into real estate and they advertise on the front pages of certain newspapers and it's still going at like 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs for one front page ad. So that is something still bigger than an online publication as well. So, but do you think the future print media will survive? Hopefully.
In different ways, it should survive.
Yeah.
That's what I was reading or somewhere I saw that it should be a new revenue model for magazines,
Yes.
the papers.
At the end, people should
It's
also
going to be this only, like for example, the people who have money are going to put themselves on the covers. And that is the only revenue model that I can think of because where the world is headed.
So will you also take money for your podcast? In 1 year, you'll be saying.
If we have holes
They
in our
should come to
shoes and
that.
we can't eat, then I think we'll have to,
It'll be
But that'd be a
audio
very-
only then.
So that'd be a very sad thing. So certain papers which I don't want to name, they have no credibility because you know their restaurant reviews are bought.
Ah.
The
Like film critics also. I don't think a single one of
that
them
is so sad
Yeah.
that you can't get a proper
there are some
review
food
of-
awards as well that
Food awards.
I don't want to say that because I've been in the
And
industry.
what is your big thrill that you got the award, in this manner? So I
Yeah.
really don't know who it's benefiting. I think apart from the media house.
Only the media house
Media
is benefiting,
houses.
and we have a thing that we can post a picture, put that photo on the wall, and because I used to be running restaurants, and I know that like I would get the call 10 days earlier saying that you have got the award, so don't worry about it. Like get your this thing, you will get this award, you will give this award, this award will be.
Oh, it's all
it's all.
By the way, we
pre-planned.
want sponsorship for XYZ.
Yeah,
so-
they'll take it in some other form.
Send food for 100 people.
Isn't it sad? Like India, we were never able to have something equivalent to the Oscars or like at film fair and all. It was a joke, because we just it was so corrupt.
But
It was-
most things in India are corrupt. Like
yeah,
not only.
I think we're innate corrupt
Yeah.
people. Like that's the problem. I think we're all just wanting to get out of our
We're not
current
innate-
financial rut.
So when you youngsters are wondering how to fight this corruption, start with yourself. I will not do it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about WOW. As long as I'm there, nothing is paid for in WOW. Whether you're covered, though people have
Wonderful.
offered us a cover saying if you give us a cover, no, nothing is paid for.
So start with
So
yourself.
start with yourself. I mean, unethically, I will not do some things.
That is that's a tough that's a tough one in this generation is because you are always away from the system. There are very few people who can manage and live their life, in the respectable manner that very few people can. Everybody.
No, but it comes back to your consumerism. We
Correct.
live in a thing where you have to have
Correct.
all these fancy cars.
Correct.
Cut down on your needs, wants.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, a human being is running a newspaper or a magazine or whatever, and that person does have wants and needs and aspirations
Yeah.
besides their moral values. So that kind of
No,
supersedes.
it doesn't
itself
mean that I have
sometimes.
to sell my soul.
Of course,
I will
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
Doesn't matter.
commendable,
Yeah.
of course.
I will not guess rich as others, but it's okay. But see, the end of it, you have to face yourself, not society.
Of course, and if your name is
Shiraz will not save you, finally. You better,
yeah,
when the moment comes. So the comparison is it's with yourself, the
course.
competition.
yes, that's very important to see it long term.
And for me, whatever I do, I have to be the best. So if I launch a magazine, it has to be the best. The book. So that the competition is in myself. I don't say that.
Okay, you're competing with
that's-
yourself.
Yeah.
That's a good
that
thing.
what I do, that my standard I have to raise the bar in some manner. Whatever I do.
That's very true. Also, like in society as well today, what's happening is the concept of marriage
Yeah.
is
Please
also
ask me about it, yeah.
very much evolving because nowadays we're seeing a lot of friends their marriages don't last beyond a couple of months because in the first 3-4 months they were like, oh, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, and divorce. But people don't realize, like I would feel like a marriage is like a tattoo on your forehead and it's permanent. and it's something which you have to go and have to work it
It's
out.
an everyday thing. Yeah.
How do you feel that that's happening right now from the previous
what is your
generation?
No,
perspective?
you guys have to tell me why this is happening. Why? First of all, you have this big fat wedding. It makes no sense to me.
But weren't
Why
weddings
should
big like this before also in the 70s? And all,
No.
Like
It
the
was
3
more
day
family. No, it was
massive-
maybe 3 days, but it was all family. So how it started was in the village. Whole village would be invited for that lunch or you know
Okay.
what. It was not about showing off who you're getting to do the decoration. My
Shahrukh
God, how
आया
much?
मेरे संगीत में.
Yeah, कौन आया? Yeah,
You know
my
who's
God.
playing the
Yeah.
who's the DJ,
DJ.
who's the
No,
MC.
that Shah Rukh Khan and
Yeah,
Priyanka
yeah.
Chopra
Karan
coming.
Johar and
Karan
all these
Johar
guys
coming.
coming, yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about one-manship.
Yeah. No, but that's the wedding. But like after the wedding, the actual
So
marriage.
people are not thinking of that. They're thinking of this tamasha and you know what fun and where we'll go. But it's like an everyday thing. I mean, you both of you are married. You know you have to work at it.
I
I,
mean,
think everybody's impatient now. The girls are impatient.
Everybody is
guys,
impatient. Yes,
yeah.
you're right.
They want gifts. And I've heard
But
this
in,
that
in
you
some
know.
way, I think a little bit of a pushback from the women of India was necessary because
Why
I
pushback?
think because there were like sometimes a lot of times where first of all the girl is leaving her house coming into the guy's house, and usually there was mother-in-law problems or certain expectations like Beti, you have to wear this and wake up at this time, whereas the boy can do whatever, and sometimes all this sort of friction happening. So sometimes the girl putting her foot down, like at least I'm a Rajput from the Rajput community.
Yeah,
I
very
know at least a
conservative,
dozen
yeah,
marriages have just broken up within 6 months because they just they're not going to put up with that bahu sort of an image anymore. They are independent women. They want to work and they don't want someone to tell them that all these rules are for you, but for my son, he's
He can
the
sleep
prince
late.
of the house.
No, he can sleep late. He doesn't
Yeah,
have
But that's the thing. Like you have to
we live
change
in a
that approach.
patriarchal society, no?
So, but do you think in a marriage there can be equality full
No,
on?
we're talking of a joint family, so that's a
this is
different.
joint family,
Yeah,
but even,
it's even more difficult for a woman. for
Because I
example.
think also like there's this dating culture which we got from the West, whereas in dating culture it's more like, oh, it's not working out between us, break up next.
Yeah.
But that's a very bad thing to put in your software. It's like when you're married, there's no next.
Yeah.
It's like you have to work it out.
Yeah, you have to
and
make it
But
work.
now the tolerance is also very low. Like you're saying, no, in 6 months, they said, why should we put up? The girls are also like that. And somebody was saying some ridiculous thing, like she's a Bangalorean. She said, I don't want to move to Hyderabad, and she took the kid and left. I mean, it's such frivolous reasons.
yeah.
So didn't you think about these things?
Yeah,
that, you know,
before.
his family was from here. So these things are happening.
Yeah.
I think the threshold has become lower.
I know that like for me, I've gotten married and I work
How
on
long
my
have you been
marriage. It's
married?
been 3 years now. And I work on my marriage every single day.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, and it's not like today I can let it go and it'll be
It's
fine.
not that easy. It's not for everyone
easy.
also.
It's not for everyone, I feel. Yeah.
Oh, it's not for everyone.
It's not.
It's not
yes.
like there are few people I know where I'm like, no, this person will.
Yeah, yeah. No?
It's not. It's good only that person doesn't get
Doesn't
married.
get married.
because
There's no point because it'll just ruin
you'll ruin that
everything.
other person's life.
You have to
as
give
well.
a lot.
Yeah.
But
It's all
Ratna ji,
about-
as a way to finally finish off our conversation, wonderful conversation we've had also, is what sort of advice do you have for people who want to become journalists and like in the honest way, I know we covered a little bit, but what do you see is the future as well and for our generation as well? How do we not stray away?
So let's do the journalist part. If you want to have an Audi car and Ferraris, and do not join journalism. There is no money in this. We do it for the passion of it because we want to make a difference. We want to tell a good story. We want to be
Because there's a lot of power in the journalist hand.
power.
Oh,
See,
yes.
that is what I enjoy
Yeah.
actually. The kind of influence I on minds. Forget the influence I have.
Yes,
The
yes.
influence I have on the minds is like very intoxicating.
Okay,
So that's what I do. What was the other thing?
So for journalists,
Journalism
yeah.
don't. You have to be serious about it. It's not something I'll take for a little while and give it up. It's like a lifelong commitment. Like I've been at this.
Yes. And then
And you have to be passionate about reading. You have to be interested in people. You have to be interested in telling us good story. Like why, for instance, he wants to shoot. I mean, there's a whole story there.
yeah, of course.
Or you guys, why you want to do this.
Yes.
You have to be interested in people. I think people have stopped being interested in people. You have to be interested in your stories.
Wonderful.
And please improve your language.
Yeah, very
Writing
important.
skills.
And be slightly more educated also.
Yeah, which comes if you read a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, reading is definitely
Yeah,
very
reading is
important.
important.
Well,
Advice again to people is go out of your little
Comfort zone.
comfort zones, do something exciting, make a difference. I
Yeah.
mean, we don't know what the next life is, but at least we have this life. But do something which has an impact.
Make a difference.
Make a difference. I'm not saying like clean the road or something. Even, I mean, if you want to
No, we
mobilize,
should also.
Yeah,
if
we
you
should,
We have to
mobilize,
be
like-
the change which we want to
Correct,
see in the
correct.
world.
Instead of
Don't,
just-
don't throw kachra on the road. Right?
Yeah, begin with that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, like your neighbors tell them, do not, this bins, please put it into
Please
that.
use it.
I think we have to be good citizens also, like when you're saying, no?
Of course.
Yeah,
agree.
we have to be. Like how in US and all, we'll behave ourselves. Won't throw
yeah,
kachra.
yeah.
As soon as we go, I'll be throwing one kachra.
Chewing gum.
Yeah, chewing gum. And Singapore, how they punish you
Oh,
if you
yeah,
throw
yeah.
chewing gum. and
Nash,
things.
Yeah, you
But
can't.
here, like we
People
are.
don't understand India is the most bindas country to be in, actually.
it's
in
super
that
chill.
way. Oh,
Like,
it's super chill.
You can
Oh,
throw, you can spit, you can pee.
cross, go on the red light, no problem.
Yeah, yeah.
But of course,
I think that civic consciousness has to be there in
Right,
this
right.
country.
Common
Otherwise, it's
sense.
such a beautiful country, but
Yes.
these things,
wonderful.
that-
But
yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Ratna.
much. Thank you so much
Thank
for coming on the show and being with us and giving us this
Yeah.
insight.
No, no, no. Thank you.